This is CTV News with Nafisa Karim.
Ridiculous increase to ask of parents over 1 year.
Parents in Saanich pushing back against potential hikes in school bus fees. What the district has to say about the increase. Also tonight.
95% of all edible fish and shellfish spend part of their life cycle in an estuary.
Researchers say levels of a forever contaminant are growing in a Cowichan Valley waterway. Plus, Adam meets a woman who was surprised to find out her father had taken photos of a movie star at a wedding in Victoria. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Saanich parents are facing some major sticker shock this week after receiving an email from the school district saying the cost of school bus transportation is expected to skyrocket. The district says an ongoing lack of funding support from the province means it is considering implementing a bus fee for students. CTV's Brendan Strange shows us for one family on the peninsula with 2 children, that will mean an increase of $750 per year.
Joey and Maddie catch a bus every morning to Sydney Elementary School.
Have a good day, okay?
This school year, their parents paid a $25 registration fee for each of their children. Their mother says they could walk to school, although the route comes with some major concerns.
My kids are pretty young and they would have to cross the Pat Bay Highway.
Yesterday, Emily Vanchake received an email from the Saanich School District saying it needs to either reduce future programming expenditures or increase revenue, and that implementing bus fees was the only option to receive support in the budget consultation process.
It's going to be $400 per child for the first 2 children. So because I have 2 kids, that's going to be $800 for me.
The district, unfortunately, is in the position of having to find budget savings.
The district secretary-treasurer says the cost of delivering SD63's programs are growing faster than the funding it receives.
We're looking at this option in relation to other options that potentially would impact programs in the classroom.
The school district is made up of roughly 6,600 students. It has 20 bus routes consisting of 1,900 riders.
It was a shock. It's a huge shock. For me, it just seems like a ridiculous increase to ask of parents over 1 year.
The district says nothing yet is final, although it is advising parents now of the potential charge, as a decision will be made at the board's coming March meeting. Provincial grants are the primary source of revenues for school districts.
Provincial grants each year are not adjusted to reflect all of the inflationary pressures that school districts face.
And that point is not lost on Emily.
At the end of the day, I don't think it should be the school district. I think it should be the province.
CTV News reached out to the province for comment, but did not receive a response by deadline. In comparison, the Sauk School District currently charges parents $325 per child for bus fees. Although at a meeting tonight, the board will consider increasing that fee by $30 to help cover inflationary costs.
I love you.
In Saanich, parents are being asked to offer feedback through an online emailed survey by March 1st for the board's consideration. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Central Saanich.
Good news for healthcare on the Mid-Island as plans for a new patient tower at the Nanaimo District Hospital are now moving ahead. Island Health says a concept plan is now being created for the new patient tower at Nanaimo Hospital, expanding acute and cardiac services. The news comes a week after the project was brought forward in the provincial budget, which outlined $2.7 billion to the Ministry of Health.
What we always hear is how great the staff teams are. But it's always like, I was in a room with the paint falling off the walls. There's 4 people in, 4 beds in a ward, and there's 1 washroom, and it's nuts if you even get into a room. As I say, any given day, we can have 60, 80 people in hallways. It's so bad.
A patient tower has been talked about and asked for years. A concept plan was even created in 2022. A BC university and conservation groups say there is new and troubling evidence of a growing amount of forever contaminants in a vital island estuary. CTV's Andy Garland shows us researchers are sounding the alarm over fiberglass and how the overlooked contaminant is affecting aquatic birds, marine life, and coastal communities.
Once a year, we are counting the logs.
The Cowichan Estuary Restoration and Conservation Association, or CIRCA, is dedicated to revitalizing the estuary to its original state.
95% of all edible fish and shellfish spend part of their life cycle in an estuary.
And when CIRCA conducted a research project looking at microplastics in the estuary,
we discovered large amounts of fiberglass.
CIRCA enlisted the help of Simon Fraser University to determine the extent of fiberglass in the estuary.
We collect several samples in 26 sites across the Cowichan Estuary, right? So to try to investigate the presence of fiberglass.
Samples were taken from the biofilm and sediment layers of the estuary in 2020 and then again 3 years later. And in 2023, fiberglass particles were detected in 96% of the sediment testing stations, a 32% increase from 2020.
We are just in the infancy to try to understand what are basically the effects of particles in organisms.
CIRCA and SFU believe the fiberglass could be coming from a number of different sources, including industry, the nearby Cowichan Bay Marina, and derelict vessels.
There's a great concern about derelict boats. Most boats have a fiberglass hull, like canoes and everything, pleasure boats.
The next step is to see if fiberglass particles have entered the food chain.
With more funding to try to continue sampling maybe invertebrate species like shellfish to see whether they are accumulating fiberglass.
To prevent further contamination, CIRCA and SFU are recommending all derelict vessels be removed and dismantled on land, and any vessel building or cleaning be done on land as well. Andy Garland, CTV News, the Cowichan Valley.
BC Hydro crews are filling in a big hole along a section of highway in View Royal, a hole they dug just yesterday to do underground upgrades to hydro infrastructure. The closure caused headaches for drivers this morning, but starting tomorrow, both lanes along the 200 block of the Old Island Highway in View Royal will reopen as normal. BC Hydro had been warning drivers the area would be closed for up to 2 weeks, but crews say once they dug up the ground, the scope of work was more challenging than initially thought. The utility now needs more time to create a plan of attack. Repaving of the area will take place during the day on Friday, at which time traffic will be down to single lane alternating traffic. An overcast, rainy day will be less of an issue for airlines landing at the Nanaimo airport. NAV Canada has officially lowered the minimum descent altitude for the airport, meaning pilots don't have to have eyes on the runway until closer to the ground if there's significant cloud cover. The aircraft can descend lower before the pilot must either establish visual of the runway or execute a missed approach. The airport has been upgrading its infrastructure for several years to achieve the new minimum, which is now similar to Victoria and Vancouver.
To get 43% lower than they were before, from 441 to 250, and we know that that's underneath the cloud cover, and so we figure now it's 97% of the time that the YCD weather will not be a factor, and it used to be 89% of the time. So, right now, and that's about as good as we can get.
Over 23 days in January, there were 13 cancellations due to the weather. Since the reduction has been in place, 0 flights have been canceled. The province is launching a new $400 million strategic investment fund in an effort to boost the economy and attract billions in new private investment. The Premier says the goal is to ensure BC businesses can lead in securing federal investments in sectors like defense and shipbuilding, creating high-paying jobs and provincial revenue. The legislation introduced today would allow the province to make loans, equity investments, and repayable contributions to private sector projects.
Also in the budget legislation are the tools that allow us to not just write a check to a company to locate in British Columbia, but actually to participate with the company and to benefit with the company on behalf of British Columbians as that company delivers profits and opportunity.
The BC Taxpayers Federation calls the new plan a, quote, corporate welfare slush fund that will give money to hand-picked multinational corporations. Still to come, demanding answers from a U.S. tech giant.
That the OpenAI safety officials, when they come to Ottawa, tell us more details about their safety protocols, their escalation thresholds, and how they keep Canadians safe.
Canadian officials asking why OpenAI didn't flag concerns to police about the Tumbler Ridge shooter.
7 degrees at the harbor right now with some sunshine. We hit a high of 9 earlier in the day today. Showers back in the forecast for the next couple of days. We'll talk about that after the break.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
What makes West Shore Parks and Recreation a perfect place to play? It's our staff, working behind the scenes to keep the pool safe, kids engaged, and programs thriving. So apply today and join our team.
Well, Josh joins us now. I'm guessing we should enjoy this lingering sunshine while it lasts.
Yeah, listen, our outfits are indicative of the forecast. Sunny today, and then a little gray over the next couple of days with some hit and miss showers. As we'll point out in a second, it doesn't look like it's going to be heavy, steady rain, but we will see some precipitation across the island over the course of the next couple of days. As we pointed out right before the break, it was 7 at the harbor. It's 8 at the airport right now. Fairly light wind there. A little breezier in Nanaimo, as you said, at 10 degrees. Port Hardy checks in at 6 right now. I don't know what that is. There's your futurecast, which shows fairly clear skies across most of the island. We'll see some increased cloud cover here later on tonight across the north. Overnight into tomorrow morning, you've got some scattered showers across northern parts of the island. Hit and miss showers, maybe occasionally some periods of slightly steadier rain for parts of the west coast tomorrow. And then in Victoria, late in the day, and then again on Thursday, we'll get some scattered showers. But take a look at these rainfall totals. Really not all that impressive. We'll take you through to the end of the day tomorrow. Yeah, maybe 5 to 10 out along parts of the west coast, 10 to 15 by the end of the day Thursday. In Victoria, 1 to 5 millimeters worth of rain. In the north, periods of rain. Nothing all that heavy, though, over the next couple of days. 7s and 8s for daytime highs. That backs off to a chance of showers for Friday, and then a little bit of sunshine breaking back through the clouds Saturday and Sunday. In fact, for most of the island, I think once we hit the weekend, should be fairly dry. It's the next couple of days that would be the best chance for some periods of light rain or scattered showers. 7s and 8s for the next 3 days for inland areas. Windy out on the west coast, gusts 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. As we said, that's where you'll see some of the heavier rainfall totals. I don't even want to call them heavy, 10 to 15 millimeters there over the course of the next 2 days. Highs near 10 for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which is right around average. 8s Saturday, Sunday. Comox, slight chance of a few scattered showers tomorrow, Thursday, and even Friday, you might see a few scattered showers in and around the Courtenay-Comox area. Temperatures are going to cool a little bit on Friday, back to about 6 or 7 for a high, but sunnier Saturday, Sunday with 8s and 9s in the forecast. In Nanaimo, 8 to 10 degree range for daytime highs through the next 5 days. Mostly cloudy and scattered showers potentially late tomorrow and Thursday. That's the case for Victoria as well. About a 60% chance of some late day showers. Wind to be 20, gusting to 40 kilometers per hour out of the southwest tomorrow. 10 again on Thursday, and then drier for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Back to some sunshine as well, with daytime highs in the 9 to 11 range. CTV weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations.
I'll be wearing pink tomorrow, Josh. I don't know what that says about the forecast, but it is pink shirt day tomorrow, so we'll just go with that.
Sunsetty.
Okay, thanks. Well, airlines have resumed operations to Puerto Vallarta today after a deadly wave of violence sparked by the killing of a notorious cartel leader. After the Mexican government killed top cartel boss El Mencho on Sunday, there was widespread unrest throughout the Jalisco region of Mexico, which includes Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. Canadian flights in and out of Puerto Vallarta were canceled as the Mexican government tried to regain control. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand confirmed her Mexican counterpart told her he expects the situation to normalize in the coming days as more than 55,000 Canadians registered with Global Affairs Canada. Passengers at YVR who are traveling to Mexico don't seem too worried by the violent outbursts, but some returning say they did see National Guards.
There was a huge presence all the time we were there, so They drove by with 2 or 3 vehicles, half a dozen times every day, so that we seen. But it didn't make us nervous.
Yes, we do that. Have a condo down there that are down there like all winter. Yeah, and we checked in with him this morning, and he said that everything was fine in the hotel zone. There hasn't been any incidents in hotel zone. They said a couple little things in the main city of Cancun, but not where all the tourists are in the hotels.
Global Affairs Canada is warning any travelers heading to Mexico to exercise a high degree of caution and to avoid non-essential travel to Jalisco State as further incidents are possible. Donald Trump's new global tariffs are now in effect, and in a surprising move, the new duties are at 10% despite a pledge to introduce them at a higher rate. After the U.S. Supreme Court blocked many of his sweeping import taxes on Friday, Trump said he would slap on a 10% global rate, then said on Saturday it would be 15%. But according to official documents, the tariffs have been set at the lower rate. No directive to increase was issued. The new tariffs replace the old ones deemed illegal in the past year. The U.S. took in more than 240 billion Canadian dollars in duties. Officials with U.S. tech giant OpenAI have been summoned to Ottawa to answer why they didn't flag concerns to police about the Tumbler Ridge shooter until after the killing spree. CTV's Judy Trin has the details on what questions cabinet ministers will ask.
7 months before the killing spree in Tumbler Ridge, ChatGPT identified an account linked to shooter Jesse Van Rutselaar for abuse and enforcement, but it did not notify police until after the rampage.
It looks like OpenAI had the opportunity to prevent this tragedy, to prevent this horrific loss of life.
Parent company OpenAI says it followed internal protocols, but the case did not meet its threshold to alert police because OpenAI did not identify credible or imminent planning.
I'm hoping that the OpenAI safety officials, when they come to Ottawa, tell us more details about their safety protocols, their escalation thresholds, and how they keep Canadians safe.
Van Rutselaar killed 8 people. 6 of the victims were children. After the shooting, OpenAI proactively reached out to the RCMP to provide.
It's important that we give them the time and the space to be able to do a thorough investigation on all aspects of what's happened.
But for AI experts, the killer's use of ChatGPT reinforces the need for strong legislation to rein in the technology.
They are barreling forward with the deployment of new tools and features and technologies without properly considering the broader safety implications of their products. And until we force them to do so, that will continue to be the trend.
The federal government is working on an online harms bill, but still deciding what content should go into the legislation. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, captured on camera, Adam meets a woman who discovered unexpected wedding photos from Victoria featuring a movie star in the bridal party. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Meets a woman who was going through her father's files when she discovered her dad took pictures of a movie star on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
When she started working as a photographer,
no idea that it would come this far.
Susan Swindells was dismissive of digital.
It's like, oh, digital can never be as good as film.
And never expected to find an envelope full of noteworthy negatives in her father's old files.
That's in my dad's writing. Burt Reynolds. What have we got?
Turns out they were taken at a wedding.
Burt Reynolds and Victoria in a wedding? Like, can't be right?
But after Susan developed them, she saw her dad's writing wasn't wrong. Burt was the best man.
Took the pictures and had no idea who he was until later.
Her dad, Roy Swindells, ran Just Right Photos when these pictures were taken back in 1962, a decade before Deliverance turned Burt Reynolds into a star.
So he was just treating him like the best man, and having to carry camera equipment or whatever.
So, Susan went searching for answers online and discovered Bert was best friends with the groom who'd fallen in love with a woman from Victoria. And the actor later cast his BC buddy in small parts in major movies like Smokey and the Bandit.
What do you do besides drive fast?
Have fun. When I was telling people, some people go, who's Burt Reynolds? You know, my younger co-workers for sure had to look it up.
Well, Bert's fame, since becoming one of the biggest stars in the 70s and 80s, may have faded. Susan says her love and admiration for the man who took the pictures endures.
I mean, my dad's been gone for 20 years now and brings it back to life.
So, no matter whether you're taking photos with film or doing it digitally,
all my pictures now are done on the phone.
Capturing a celebrity is certainly superficially satisfying.
Just kind of fun to reminisce about.
But it's preserving the memories we make with family and friends, Susan has learned, that prove to be the most meaningful.
Something that can be a shared thing, and looking at pictures. I love it.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Langley.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by Coastal Community Credit Union. Bank happy at Coastal Community Credit Union.
Love a movie star mystery. Well, that is it for CTV News Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.